right? How relationships and how important it is when it comes down to leaders. Why is it so important? And how can they develop the skills to build those relationships? Because I feel that that's where everything gets disconnected. There's not so many skills, and I feel like that has to be developed so we can build strong relationships.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, I always say that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So the way that you show up in relationships is usually a reflection of the way that we see ourselves. And the same skills that we need in our romantic relationships or even in our family relationships, our personal relationships, they're required in leadership as well. So things like self-awareness, communication, emotional intelligence, these are the things that shape not just our relationships, but our success as leaders. So they're very, very connected. We see them as separate, but they're very connected.
Yeah. This is really interesting though. It is mind blowing to me just to understand the fact that they are very connected, and somehow we kind of separate them both. Somehow, as we growing up, we start separating both. You made the connection about like they are very similar, and however you have relationships in your romantic or even with your family, you start bringing them into other categories or other paths of your own journey. For you as a relationship, what do you feel is missing as a leaders? What are the two or three things that leaders get are missing more than anything to become better leaders, but more than anything, build better relationships and more strong connections, though?
Yeah, that's a great question, Omar. And I think it all boils down to number one, being aware, right? Being aware of your own triggers, your own reactions, your own emotional needs. This is true in a romantic relationship, and it's true as a leader as well. It makes sense. You have to be aware of yourself. And then most of us are on autopilot. We're not even thinking. And we repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. So when we become more aware of our thoughts, of our behaviors, then we can make more conscious choices and decide how we're going to react. And leaders, a lot of times, they fall into the same trap. They go into autopilot and they're not aware of how their reactions are impacting their team or their employees or their clients. So, for example, you might have a leader who notices that they have, trouble with their employees and their employees are not cooperating, or maybe the morale is not well. And if they stop and become aware of how they're interacting with them, and maybe they're being very aggressive or assertive in the way that they speak to them, and they notice that pattern, then they can try a different approach. So that's one thing that's missing. And I think bottom line is the ability to really connect with people. It's a lot of leaders are very focused on the tasks that they need to do, the plan, what is the process, and they're very oriented in terms of higher level thinking of the big picture in what they want to accomplish, but they are missing that human connection. They're missing that ability to relate to the people that are going to implement these things. And I think that that's a big part of what's missing in leadership. It boils down to that, the relationship skills, really, because that's how we learn to connect with others.
Yeah, this is really brilliant. Thank you so much for expanding a little more and how much as a leaders we had to not just be aware, but really understand how can we connect with others. You mentioned earlier understanding the love languages. We, obviously, the more you know your own languages, you will be able to connect with people in a deeper level. We as a leader, you mentioned too, the fact that we are always focusing on the result without giving any importance to the person that we're speaking to sometimes, right? We just, as a leaders, we just aiming for the result. We just aiming in one direction, and we just trying to really get the results, even sacrificing our own people sometimes,
Yeah.
because we just want to get everything out of it and we want to sometimes squeeze them. Would you say that it's really, it's not necessarily that it's really important? Would you say that that's something that leaders can become more aware of, the love languages of their own peers or the people they are leading in this particular case?
Yeah, that is something that's important. And the point of that is to understand what is really important to your team. What are their core values? What matters to them? So in a relationship, we talk about love languages. My partner feels loved when I do an act of service, or when we spend quality time together, or through gifts, or whatever it may be. When it comes to leaders and a corporate environment or a work environment, we think of it in terms of, how can I make my employee or my team or my coworkers
Mm,
feel appreciated and valued? How can they feel motivated and empowered? Right?
mhm.
Because if they're not, don't have buy-in, and they don't believe in what it is that we are trying to do, and it's not important to them, then it doesn't matter what we want to accomplish. We can't accomplish it all by ourselves, right? We
Yeah.
need the team effort. That's what a
Hmm.
leader is. Part of
Yeah.
leadership is being able to inspire, to motivate, to connect with people, so that they are willing and able to be efficient, be productive, and have pride in what they do, right? Because
Yeah.
it's our outcome is, it's important to focus on the outcome because we need to know where we're going, but it's also
Hmm.
important to understand, how are we going to get there? And part of how we're going to get there is believing that it matters, understanding that what we're doing and what we're working towards is important. We're not
Yeah.
just going through the motions and doing it just because we want to have a paycheck at the end of the day, but because it matters. We have to connect with that, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we're humans. We're not just workers. We're not just leaders or employees or men or women or whatever, however we want to call ourselves. We're human beings.
Yeah.
We all are
Yeah.
human beings, and we have to connect in some way. And that purpose, that mission that we're working towards, is important, is what's going to drive us. So we need to understand what it is that our team values. What's their
Yeah.
love language? What's their motivation? What is their their value really? Because
Yeah.
that's what's going to help them really put in the effort and do their best.
Yeah. This is beautiful because you mentioned what are the core values and what is your mission. When you get that message very clear, and when you understand what are your values and your core values as a leader, and obviously the company that you are leading, and even if you are the CEO, what are the core values of your company and what is the mission? You want to start finding people that follows and believe in what you believe, right? You will be able to do all those things that are obviously together, but they align, and therefore people will be able to follow you because they believe in what you believe. Instead of, you can get employees, but when you have that message, you have the core values very clear, when you have your mission and your vision very aligned with everything that you're trying to accomplish as a company or as a CEO, people, you will start attracting people. It's the same with when it comes down to your, so you mentioned, the one, we do one thing, we do everything. And this is just beautiful though. Now, as a leaders, obviously there's a lots of, we'll say, pressure, but
Mhm.
how important it is, the relationship or the support from the partner or the support of the family as well. How much of importance plays a role in the leadership game that we are trying to that we're playing in this particular case?
Mhm. Yeah, well, definitely the people that are around us, that's our support system.
Mm,
No one accomplishes great things all by themselves. We all have to have either the support of family, we have to have a good team around us. And that's what is going to help us achieve the things we want to achieve, and fulfill whatever vision it is that we have. So definitely when you have, whether it's whether it's a romantic relationship or your family, you need to be able to, again, communicate with them, share with them your experiences, share with them your vision and your mission so that they can then support you and be there for you and encourage you, because that's what's going to help you go further. And, I want to just go back to what you were mentioning before about the vision and mission of the leadership and the team and what they're working towards, and being able to communicate that with the team, right? With the company or the team or whatever. That is really important, because it's not just explaining, this is my vision, this is what we're working towards, this is what we're doing. That's a part of it, but it's really, really, really helping them to connect with that vision. How does that vision make sense in their world? Mm-hmm. It can't just be your vision as a leader. It has to be our vision. And I think that's something that leaders get wrong. Mm-hmm. A lot of leaders, they're thinking about the future, and and that's their job. They're supposed to, right? Because they're supposed to lead, and they're supposed to tell people what direction we're going. And they have to communicate that with their team. But what they're missing is connecting that vision. How does this make sense for me? The individual employee or the individual team member. Okay, what is my role? What is my place in this big vision that we have for the company? And that's where the interpersonal human connection comes in to really help the people connect with that vision, because they're the ones that are going to make that vision happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you going back there, because I think it, like you mentioned, it's very powerful the way you explain it and how you can make the connection, right? We're talking about how can people start connecting more, and you explain it so well. And thank you so much for going back there. Yeah. Now, you obviously work with several leaders, and you helping them not just in the leadership atmosphere, but you helping them in relationships and trying to get a transformation. What would you say to someone, entrepreneur, that it's having a hard time acquiring the support from family or even for their partner, because obviously they build a career as a leaders, they have a great leader role, and all of a sudden there's no purpose anymore, there's no fulfillment, and they feel like called to do something else, and they want to start going into the entrepreneurial journey, but they feel that there's no support, whether it's the family or even the partner at times. What would you say to that person that is struggling with making the connection and helping and trying to get the support from the family and from the partner? You as a mom, you have your own business and you decided to go as an entrepreneur. And to me, it's really beautiful to see how your family and your husband support you. And I'm like, oh, wow, I wish everybody could be like that, because building a career or building a business is one thing. And then all of a sudden you want to do something else that I'm like, I feel very called to do this. And this is something that I'm very passionate and fulfills me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say to these particular people? Because you are a great example of that. That's the reason why I mentioned it. And to me, it's very admirable to see the career that you build on your own path, but then you're trying to go in a different way. And to me, it's been beautiful to see that particular part. And I just want to acknowledge this. It's been fascinating to me to watch.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that and for mentioning that. And you're right. It's not easy. My husband and I started a business. Believe it or not, we're in our 30th year of that business. Wow. And we were starting and running a business at the same time we got married, we had our children. So now our children are adults, and we did all that at the same time. So that in itself, having a beautiful marriage while running a business together, has its own set of challenges. And then you're right. Then I decided to go in a different direction for myself. We still have that business. My husband is in that full time, but I'm a coach full time. And it was a completely different direction. And you're right. When we want to do something different, when we want to expand for the people around us, they're used to us a certain way, it's a little bit scary because change is scary. So not only is it scary for us because we're out of our comfort zones, doing something different, doing something new, but for the people around us, they're going to be impacted as well. So it's scary for everyone. And that's just something that kind of comes with the territory, and you have to acknowledge. It's not that the people, that your loved ones or your partner doesn't want to support you. It's just that it's a change. And whenever there's change, it's scary. So we want to acknowledge that, of course. But as human beings, change is natural. We're meant to grow and evolve. We're not meant to stay the same. We're not meant to be stagnant. And in a relationship, you're meant to grow as individuals, and you're meant to grow together interdependently. So part of my individual growth was to expand into my coaching business. And I'm so grateful for it. And I'm grateful to my family for their love and support. And they see how wonderful it's been for myself, and for our family as well, just in a personal sense, just in terms of fulfillment. I think that a big part of that is reassuring family members that it's not that we're not happy with where we are. It's that we want to grow. We feel called to do something more. And that reassurance, and also letting them in on what we're doing so that they understand, and letting them know, hey, I need your support in this, because our family wants to support us. They want to be there for us, but we need to let them know how they can support us. We need to let them in on that and make them a part of it so that they understand what we're working towards, and they can kind of be part of our journey, as opposed to, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm off. I'm doing this, and I'm on my own, and I'm doing this. Not about separating. It's about expanding, and they can be part of that journey. And that's how I see it. I just see it as part of my evolution as a human being, as an entrepreneur. It's part of my personal fulfillment, and my family supports me in that. And I think that that can be true of any entrepreneur. I think what often happens, and I've been an entrepreneur all of my life, so I get it. We love what we do. We're very passionate. Entrepreneurs, there's a saying that we'll work 100 hours just to not have to work at a 9 to 5 for someone else. That's just how we're built. So I totally get that. And we sometimes become confused, we sometimes become consumed with our work. We're working on this and we're working on that, and we're really enjoying what we're doing. And it's easy to kind of get our focus so narrow that we realize, oh, I'm not spending time with my family. I'm not making time for date night. I'm not showing up for family dinner. I'm not calling my friends. That happens sometimes. So we need to be aware that we're working on our dream, we're working on our goals, but we're also remembering that the people around us matter as well. And we're making time for that. We're not excluding that. We're making time for those things. So again, it goes back to that self-awareness. I'm working, I'm focused, that's wonderful, but I'm also making sure that the people around me know that I love and care about them, and I'm making time for them as well. I think that's the biggest challenge, that the people around us, first of all, they're afraid because they notice something different about us and they don't understand it. But also they may feel like, okay, they're taking time away from me, and I don't like this. So if we can kind of address and be aware of those things, I think that that really helps our family and our partners feel better. And it also helps them support us. So in the end, not only we both feel good and we be supportive, and it helps our business as well.
Yeah. This is so powerful, Odette. Thank you so much for the great explanation and for expanding a little bit more. You have no idea of how much understanding I'm getting just listening to you, the way you phrase things and the way you expand everything. 3 key things to me that are key in this particular statement that you just made. The first one is communication. It's really understanding where you are and what you're trying to do. And it's not that you want to change necessarily, you want to expand. I love that. And that's what I call reverse engineering or reverse psychology. It's just frame it different. It's not that you're going to be somebody else, right? Because you're still you. It's
Right.
just, I just want to expand. I just want to grow and evolve. Come with me, right? That's the first one. The second one, it goes back into understanding and having the self-awareness enough that not losing your essence within the process. And what I mean by that, I do mean do not lose your essence within the process means it is okay that you're very aim focused on the goal that you're trying to achieve as an entrepreneur and build a new career if you want to go that in that particular path. Just don't lose the essence of relationships of your family, because at the end of the day they are the ones supporting you. For example, you built a whole entire business with your husband, and like I said, I'm seeing it and I watch it and I'm like, this is beautiful, and the way you explain, I'm like, that makes sense. Because me, I start asking myself, like, it has to be something. Like, what is it? It's not just like, I'm going to go in this particular path as entrepreneur, and you forget that, and you are very aware of that. You start, hold on a second, I'm going over here, I'm going to expand. However, I'm still going to spend time with you because you're part of me, right? You're not losing your whole entire essence within the process. And that is so beautiful. And the last one is you connected as a circle. It's just like, it's like repeating the whole entire thing all over again. You did step one, you did step two. Let me repeat it again because it's a circle. And that connects everything. It's like what it makes the human connection really beautiful. Thank you so much for expanding a little more that I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people. There's gonna be a lot of people who's gonna be you're gonna answer a lot of questions for them. Now we're talking about the topic of family. You're not just an entrepreneur, you're a mompreneur, you're a wife, you're a friend, and you very family oriented, right?
Yeah.
What would you say for the mompreneurs that feel guilty?
Mm.
They have guilt
Mm.
about going into building the business because once again, they feel like they gonna lose everything. And there's a guilt in not spending any more time with you, and expanding, and they want to do both. They love both. They love going into the entrepreneurial journey. At the same time, they feel like we mentioned, like they're gonna sacrifice. What has been key for you, and what kind of tools can you provide for the mompreneurs, especially for the mompreneurs and any particular leader? How can they both being able to navigate without pulling one more than the other and just make sure that both go apart? Because they are key in this particular case. They are both are key, but it's like that guiltiness. What would you say to them?
Yeah, yeah, I totally can relate to the guiltiness. I've been there myself, and it's kind of like women are built a certain way. We're built where we have that sensory acuity when it comes to our children. So we kind of know intuitively when something is going on with our children, when they need us, when something's wrong. We have that. And that's a beautiful thing. Being an entrepreneur doesn't take that away from you. So you can still be there for your children, and you could still be a mom when they need you. And you can still be an example of a woman that is independent, that is hardworking, that is building something, that is helping others, that is not only helping me, the child, but is helping other people and making an impact. That's a wonderful example that you're setting for your children as well. And it's important for them to see that. It's important for them to see what you're doing. It's important to see that you are, first of all, that you take care of your own needs and you're not neglecting yourself for your family, which women, sometimes we fall into that trap, but also that we are doing something that is important to us, that is fulfilling, that doesn't take away from being a mom. It's just, again, that we're human beings too. We're not just a mom, right? I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a wife. I'm not just an entrepreneur. I'm a human being. I am all of that. And it's all important to me. It's what makes me who I am. And again, how I show up as a mom, as a wife, how I'm showing up here with you, how I show up with my clients. This is me. I'm going to bring all of that no matter what I'm doing. Obviously, the role might be different depending on what's going on
Yeah.
with my children or what they need or whatever, but this is me. And I want my children to see me. I want to be an example for them because I have 2 girls and I have a son. And I want them to have a family and be very dedicated to their family and also do whatever it is that they want to do that fulfills them, that
Yeah.
makes an impact greater than your family, which is so important. I mean, hands down, the most important thing that I have ever done and will ever do is dedicate myself to my family. And I will always be dedicated to my family, even with
Yeah.
my businesses. It's not one or the other. And again, I feel like bringing them along for the journey, letting them see what it is that I'm working on, why it's important. It's not just, oh, I don't have time for you. I'm doing something else. I'm working. No, this is why I'm doing this. This is what matters. And also making sure that I am available for them. They know that I'm
Yeah.
available for them. They know that I'm always going to be there for them. And that's
Yeah.
true of my clients as well. My clients know that I'm
Yeah.
there for them and I'm available for them. But I'm not just a coach, right? I'm going to be there for my family.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I am a human being and I want my children to see that I'm not
Yeah.
just here to serve and take care of them or to serve and take care of the family or dad or whatever. I'm here for myself as well. And I'm a full human being.
Yeah.
So I think that moms need to remember that the mom guilt can come up. It's okay. Let's acknowledge it. It's natural. Like, don't be mad at it. Don't beat yourself
Yeah.
up for feeling it, but then remind yourself, you want to reframe it. You want to reframe
Yeah.
it and you want to know, my kids are okay. And I am there for my children. And this matters as well. My business matters as well.
Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you so much for explaining. And to me, the main thing that I take away from all of this is, once again, don't lose your essence in the process, but don't forget that you're human too.
Mhm.
I do think, especially when it comes down to relationships, sometimes because we put a name, oh, this is my husband, this is my son, and we forget that they are humans. They just feel the same way we feel. We feel things. We we have different thoughts, obviously.
Yeah. And they're
However,
not
how
just
can
there to be your husband, or they're not just there to be your child. They're not just there to be your friend. There's a whole part of them. They're a whole human being, not just in the role that they serve in your life. That's a part of
yeah,
it, but they're a whole human being. And you
yeah,
want to get to know all of them. What really makes a relationship great is really the friendship. And the friendship is about really
mm,
knowing each other, really getting to
yeah,
know all parts of another human being, not just the parts that have to do with you.
yeah,
And I think that that's the key in being able to be a good entrepreneur and have a family and a relationship is I'm not just going to talk to you about what's relevant to you, but also I want you to know all parts of me. I want you to know what I'm working on. I want you to know about my business,
yeah,
all parts of me, because we are a full human and we want to be able to
yeah,
share that.
yeah. This is so beautiful. Just a thought came to me where that's the best definition I heard so far, by far, about entrepreneurship. Like, I want to get to know entrepreneurship, not just the good, but I want to know entrepreneurship. And to me, you have no idea how much you help me, because so many people ask me, Omar, how you able to just go all in and not see the bad. I'm like, you have no idea how much bad it is. Like it's not all rainbows as I make it seem. Like there's so much going on behind the scenes. Not so many people know, and those are part of me, and I love them. I enjoy them. I love more that part, because that's where a lot of my growth has come from. But the way you phrase it is just like, I want to get to know you. It's just like three entrepreneurship as a relationship. That is so beautiful. That just blow my mind. The fact, like, it is true. If you treat entrepreneurship as a relationship, everything else, you will start seeing it different. You can start seeing the beauty. You can start seeing the ugly, but you still love it. You're still going to love it. It's part
Yeah,
of you.
yeah, yeah. And what you said
Right.
before about, it's not all roses, it's not all perfect. It's like, in NLP, we learn there's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. The
Yeah.
most successful people have failed the most. That's what being successful is. Success means you have a tolerance. You have to have a tolerance for failure, a tolerance for mistakes, a tolerance for things not going perfectly. You have to have a
Yeah.
tolerance for that so that you can learn from it and you can grow. That's what success is. It's being resilient, learning and growing and moving forward. It's not that everything is perfect, everything is
Yeah.
great. It's that you're able to move forward and learn from the failure, from the mistakes, from the things that don't go well. And that's
Yeah.
true in business. That's true for entrepreneurship. And that's true in relationships as well.
Yeah.
Is that when there's a conflict, how do we deal with it? How do we repair that conflict?
Yeah.
That's what is
Yeah.
make that relationship strong. It's not about a relationship that nothing ever goes wrong or that is perfect. There's no such thing. No such thing as a relationship that's perfect, and there's no such thing as a business where everything is just success. There
Yeah.
is failure, there are things, conflict, and it's how you handle it, it's how do you repair it, and it's how do you build resiliency. That's what's going to equal success.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to mention the fact that the more you know yourself, the more you will be able to understand when you need a break. Because what we many of us get confused when entrepreneurship is just like you had to be. I mean, we hear like you had to. You mentioned 100 hours. You got to go all in. Omar is going all in, and people think that I don't take breaks. I don't. You have no idea how many breaks I take because I know myself. I don't function with pressure. Once I became aware of myself, I'm like, I really don't function with pressure. I mean, I feel pressure, everything shuts down. I'm like, I need to learn different ways for me to manage several things. So I think, could you say in relationships, obviously, the more you know yourself, the better you will be able to understand your whole entire ecosystem?
Absolutely. The most important relationship that you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. And that is the foundation of every other relationship that you have, whether it's your romantic relationship, whether it's work relationship, whether you're a leader, your family, it doesn't matter. It starts with the relationship that you have with yourself. And part of that is knowing yourself, knowing what you need, and taking care of yourself, taking those breaks. It's part of that relationship with yourself because in order for your business to be sustainable, in order for you to keep working all those hours and pouring yourself into your business, you need to recharge your own battery. You need to fill your own
Yeah.
cup. You have to. It's part of your self-care. And that's what's going to help you go farther. But if you go, 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 eventually you're going to get burnt out. And that's
Yeah.
the same, it's the same thing in relationships. We want to make sure that we're taking the time that we know ourselves and we know what we need, and we're taking care of our own needs, ourselves, and
Yeah.
communicating what we need with our partner, as opposed
Yeah.
to throwing that responsibility onto them and assuming that they should know what we need. No, that's our responsibility to figure out what we need, give ourselves
Yeah.
the things that we need, and ask from our partner and our loved ones for the things that
Yeah.
we need from them. We need to take
Yeah.
responsibility for that. But self-care is
Yeah.
a really important part of that. And that relationship with yourself, it's the foundation of everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for expanding a little more into that. I think that's very well said and so beautiful. Now, there's a question that a couple of my clients asked me, um, and I wanna throw it at you because I think it'll be very powerful, not just for the clients that I have, but it will be powerful for the audience. As entrepreneurs, sometimes we get so into just like work and go full mode, and then it's hard for us to switch into now we got to get spend time with the family. Now I had to be the wife. Now I had to be the mom. Now I had to be all this. What tips do you have for those people that have a hard time learning to separate both? They just it's not that one is better than the other. They both are important, but they bring in, for example, in this case, could be work, right? Leadership, like we leaders, we go, go, go. And once time, when it goes down or it's time for family, we start bringing work into family. And then there's whole chaos, right? What tips do you have for this particular people that have a hard time understanding and trying to play both sides of the journey though?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. It's that work-life balance. And I think the main thing to acknowledge is that, first of all, it's intertwined. They're not completely separate because, again, you are the same human being. You're the same human being whether you're in your business, at work, with your team, or with your family. You're the same person and you're bringing yourself to all of those situations. So acknowledge that they're going to interlap, right? They're going to intertwine, and that's okay. Also, it goes back to really understanding, okay, what is deciding? What is my routine to connect with myself, to take that break, whether it's, before you go home with your family, maybe go for a walk, take a few deep breaths, something to kind of just switch off, take a shower, something so that internally you're able to manage your own state. And if you had problems at work, if you had a situation that's on your mind, you can kind of manage your own state. It doesn't mean that you can't come home and tell your family about it, because the act of venting and sharing with our family, that helps us process our day. And then listening to our family about their day and what's going on and listen to them vent, that's okay, because that helps us process and helps us regulate our emotions and our day. However, we do want to have a process for just shifting that state. Again, it could be deep breaths, something that we do, something physical helps, listening to music. Maybe there's a song that really, kind of helps you clear your head, listening to something in the car on the ride home, something to kind of help you shift out of that and be present for your family. It's okay if you share, take a few minutes to share, oh my God, I had this really difficult situation today, or I had this issue with a client. It's okay for you to do that. Again, we're human beings. It's part of our day, and we want to share our experiences, and we want to be there to listen to our family's day as well. That's really important. We can bring that and share without coming home angry and taking it out on our family, or frustrated and taking out on our family, or anxious. We don't want that to bleed into our home or our relationships, but we do want to be able to share. And you do want to have some kind of process to shift your state. Use your 5 senses. Focus on something that you're listening to, some kind of music.
Yeah.
Do some breathing exercises, some meditation, something that you can do to just use temperature, take a cold shower, something to kind of shift your state so that you're not in that heightened state that you were in at work, and you can be really present for your family.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so beautiful, though. Thank you so much for really emphasizing the part of becoming aware of your own process and really not be afraid to share your own emotional state. And as well, don't be afraid to show all the things that you experience at work.
Yeah. It's okay to share it as long as you're not taking it out on. This is where it's the problem, that people come home frustrated from work, frustrated because they had a bad day, and they come home and then they have that energy, that negative energy, that angry energy. And what happens with energy? What happens right now if I start yawning, if I yawn because I'm tired, then chances are you're going to yawn, Ahmad, right? Because energy is contagious. And if you come home angry and frustrated, it's going to bleed into your home. Your family's going to pick up. That's the energy you're bringing to your family. So it's okay to share with your family about your day, but you don't want to bring that energy, that negative energy that's going to impact them. So you want to be responsible for managing your own state. And I think that's the key. And that's what people get wrong. They think, oh, I had a bad day and my home is my safe space. I'm going to, I'm going to be angry and I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to be I'm going to sulk here. And that's not fair to your family.
Yeah.
You want to be able to
And you,
disconnect in that way.
no, definitely. Thank you. You touch responsibility. Start accepting responsibility for your own actions. At the end of the day, work is work, family is family. Yeah, they're able to support you. That doesn't mean they had to carry all the baggage that we have and sometimes we bring into the house, right? It's okay to share, but in a way that you are at least processing, understanding your own process, whatever you need. Thank you for sharing a couple key elements that people can even just listening to music, right, on our way home.
I think it's helpful to decide ahead of time, like when you're not in a heightened state, when you're not angry or frustrated, when you think ahead of time, okay, what can I do every day, part of my routine during that transition time from work to home? What can I do? Make that decision ahead of time so that it becomes a habit, it becomes part of your routine, and you don't have to figure it out when you're angry and you're frustrated. It's already part of your
Yeah,
routine.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing how small little steps can create such a big impact, but we just so I guess we just so blinded by sometimes by anger, but the frustration, just being upset for whatever reason happened, whatever happened at work. And this is so beautiful. And thank you so much for expanding. Now, we're talking about relationships. You obviously work with couples and you work with people transitioning from relationship, and you probably have worked with people that want to start developing relationships and start seeking to relationships. Leadership, we always feel, because we are the leaders, we have zero time for anything when it comes down to romantic relationship, not just let alone the relationship we have with the coworkers or with the people we leading. We have zero ground when it comes down to building a romantic relationship. What tips can you give to that particular leader to be able to open up himself, herself, to new opportunities and new experiences, and understanding that both, once again, they are important, right? Because in the leadership as entrepreneurs, it's very lonely. It gets lonely. It get really easy. It can get really lonely. And then we go into that rabbit hole. It's like, oh, nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. Nobody pays attention to me. And like something's wrong with me, right? I heard them all. But I want you to really expand a little bit. And what tips will you give to somebody that is trying to go in that particular adventure of, yes, I want to take this position, or I want to go in my entrepreneurship journey. At the same time, I'm in the phase of, I want to create a family. I want to connect with someone and create a family and build a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something that a lot of my clients struggle with, where they're have these amazing careers, they're so successful, their life is very full already. So then how do you now make time for a relationship, a family, these things that they do want, right? I think that what I'm noticing is that people fall into we're creatures of habit, right? And we fall into patterns. So they're so busy and so full already with their careers. And a part of them makes choices that kind of, they choose subconsciously partners that are unavailable. And I think that part of the time, they don't believe that it's possible for them. For a lot of people that I've encountered, it's almost like they don't even believe that it's possible for them. They don't believe that they have time for them. They tell themselves these things. These are the things that they tell them. So you want to be really aware of what your thoughts and your beliefs are about relationships. If you're constantly telling yourself, I don't have time for a partner, I don't have time for a relationship, or if you're constantly telling yourself relationships are really hard, then what happens is subconsciously you're choosing partners, you're choosing to date, or when someone does, approach you, it's someone that's going to really be unavailable and is not a good match for you, is not aligned with your values, your life and your goals. And then inevitably when it doesn't work out, you're like, you see, It's just relationships are too hard. It's not possible for me. So you want to really rewire the way you're thinking. And you could say, relationships are very satisfying with the right partner. You want to make sure that you're saying things like that to yourself. Be aware of your thoughts and your beliefs. And also acknowledge that having a partnership is something that is human. We want to connect with other people. We want to connect with our families. We want to connect with our friends. And it's completely human to want to connect with a romantic partner. And I've encountered people that feel uncomfortable being vulnerable, uncomfortable even acknowledging that to themselves, that they want that partnership. So you want to get comfortable with that vulnerability because it's okay. It doesn't make you less independent or less powerful. Again, it just makes you human. So you want to spend the time, make sure that you're making the time for that and that you're open for it above anything. So just be open to it. Be open to it is the first step.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so beautiful because we finally touch about the patterns and those patterns that we continue to bring without even paying attention to, or without even acknowledging or being aware that we bringing them out into something new. We always, this is crazy. I just have this thought. We always trying to upgrade skills when it comes down to leadership, but we develop set of skills on upgrading the way we can connect with people romantically, right? We continue the same thing, sometimes the way we grew up, and we continue to build, and it's like nothing, like you mentioned, nothing works, relationships really bad. It's really bad. It's not for me. I don't deserve it. And just become aware of those particular thoughts and start rewiring. Once again, reverse psychology, reverse engineering, phrase those things in a different manner. You will start putting that energy out there.
Yeah. You want to be able to really identify what are your core beliefs about relationships. And a lot of these beliefs, they're formed in childhood. They're formed based on what we saw when we were children, the examples around us, things that we saw, in society, in school, and on social media nowadays. So we want to be aware of what those beliefs are and then notice, is this belief serving me? Is this useful for what I want to accomplish? If I want to have a partner, I want to have a family, then a belief that love is hard or that, marriage doesn't work out. If that's the belief that you have, it's not going to serve you in achieving what you want, which is a loving relationship. So you want to rewire that. Like you said, you want to reframe that mindset and you want to be open to what you do want. And you want to identify and really, really get clear on the values that you want, what you want in a relationship, and make sure that your daily habits and the little things that you're doing each and every day makes sense for that and is aligned with that.
Yeah. This is very beautiful. And I want to ask you this. You obviously built a business for 30 years. You have a wonderful family, wonderful husband. You have your kids are all grown up. They going into their own journey.
My daughter's getting married this year in a
Your
couple.
daughter is getting married. Congratulations. You just went into a new TV. No, you just went into a TV show. Congratulations. I saw the post and it's beautiful. Obviously, a lot of things are happening in your life and they are so beautiful. And for me, it's been beautiful to get to know you and work with you and partner with you in so many things. And I learned so much from you. And there's something that strikes for me very strong. You have very strong core values when it comes down to your family. You give your soul and heart to your family. What has been for you the greatest, the greatest, it's not necessarily the greatest solution, but it's like, what is the greatest achievement that you have up until this day?
Wow. That's a really, really good question. And I think that I feel like it's not just one thing. I feel that it's not, oh, it's my business. It's being able to have this many clients. Or I don't even want to say it. It's my family. I feel like it's all of that. It's that I've been able to have a beautiful relationship and marriage with my husband. We've been together for 35 years this year, since we were kids, since we were very, very young. And we built a business and we have our children, and it has not been easy. It's been a lot of challenges. It has not been smooth sailing, as we were saying before. But I think that what truly matters is that from the beginning, from a very young age, we've been really connected to our values, to what really, really matters. And that has been the compass for us, whether it's in my relationship, in my business, or in raising my family. And I think really that's probably my greatest accomplishment is really instilling that in my family, is know your compass, know your core values. That's what's going to guide you. That's what's going to help you make your decisions, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's in your business. It's going to help you navigate. And that really is a great accomplishment, I think, in my opinion, just because it's how we show up and it's about how we feel. And for me, I'm all about love. I love your hat, by the way. I mean, my
Thank you.
background, love is my brand.
Yeah.
And really feeling love, feeling that security, that safety, that relationships bring us, that human connection is what truly matters. And it's all tied to being aligned with your goals. I mean, being aligned with your core values. And that's
Yeah.
something that I've been able to instill in my family.
Yeah.
And that's how I operate. And I think that
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that. But I do want to mention, and thank you for saying those lovely things about me. But I do want to mention, Ahmad, that truly, we kind of started out this journey around the same time, and we've watched each other's growth. And I think you are truly, honestly, sincerely, one of the most generous people that I know.
Thank you.
I see your personal growth and personal journey, your professional growth and your professional journey. And all along the way, you've been very generous, and it's been not just about you, but you've been about the impact that you make, not just on your clients, but on other coaches. You bring us along your journey with you. You share with us everything that you know. You're so open and you share with us, and you make us better coaches, and you help my clients indirectly by you being so generous with us. So I just want to acknowledge you, and I want to thank you for who you are and everything that you've done, and your generosity with your clients and with our coaching community, because it doesn't go unnoticed. And I just want to take a minute and acknowledge that.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. They're very unexpected. You're gonna make me tear up. Yeah. First of all, I want to acknowledge your knowledge. Thank you, thank you. I think it's very powerful. The fact, like, what is your compass that can get you, and how powerful it is once you truly understand yourself and what are your values, and you really true to who you are, and you just immerse fully into it. And that particular, I call it self-love purification. And that is so beautiful. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that you're instilling that in your kids, because it's showing, everything you share, that you're so gracious sharing all those memories with us. And that, me personally, I love to see that, because I'm like, oh wow, look at that, that's so beautiful. And it's not just we showing the bad things, but you sharing all those beautiful things, and you sharing difficult times too. And I think that's very powerful. And I really appreciate your kind words. You are absolutely correct. I'm always, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the struggle and for all the things that I'm willing to put myself into the test. And then, hey, this works. Here it is. It wasn't beautiful, but this is the end result. Go and try it. And me personally, having this particular conversation with you, it's been very powerful in so many ways. And I wanna say thank you, because the way I thought about entrepreneurship, there's been several thoughts that for me is like I had to find a definition. I had to find a definition, and it came to me as a personal growth. But at the end of the day, it's a relationship that I have with entrepreneurship. And it's just like it's part of me. I know that it is part of me. And that particular, I built an infinite mindset. It never ends. I'm willing to put myself through the fire to help and support others. I think the best definition of love that I heard, and this is for all the leaders, the best definition of love that I have heard so far is give others the power to destroy you, and trust they don't use it against you. That to me is the best definition of love, because you are a great example. You're giving the power to others to destroy you, and you trusting that as a leader, you trust that they don't use it against you. It's just trust that they're gonna do whatever they need to do. They're gonna grow at their own pace. They're gonna learn at their own, and they just evolving on their own pace and their own time. And it's the thing that I see with you. It's like you've been evolving, you've been growing, you've been being immersed into this journey at your own time. You know, me, I go full speed. That's who I am. That's who I am. I'm willing to immerse and develop different things. And sometimes they get me into difficult situations. But I'm so glad that I'm able to share with the people that I'm really connected. You know, you and I get together with our group, and we learn and we support each other. And to me, that particular group, it really has been the core to help me understand what truly love, community is. You know, because we get together, we support each other, whether we're really high or we're really low, it doesn't matter. We just like hang all together. And to me, that's what I say. Like, you're a really great example of it. Your core values are super strong. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the meaningful connections, all the work that we have done together. It's been such an amazing journey. But before I let you go, is there anything that I haven't given you the opportunity to share with us that you would like to share?
I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
I think we talked a lot of about a lot of different things that are really important. I think that they're relevant. We made that big connection between romantic relationships and leadership. And I just want to go back to reminding people that, you know, we're human beings first. Work on your own self-awareness, work on your communication skills, work on your emotional intelligence, communicate, stay curious, and listen to understand rather than to respond. These are skills that are useful, whether you're a leader or you're with your romantic partner or your family. It's all the same. Just be human. Be human and you will be successful. And remember that we are working with and for humans above all. And I think that that's the key to success in leadership and in relationships. And again, I want to also emphasize to take responsibility and value the relationship with yourself. A lot of the work that I do with my clients, regardless of what we're working on, it really all goes back to that relationship with yourself, your own needs, your own self-awareness, your triggers, your reactions, your patterns, all of that. That's what really is the foundation for everything else.
Yeah. So beautiful for that. Thank you so much. This has been truly amazing. I really appreciate all your insights, the wisdom, and the way you phrase things. And clearly, to me, it's been one of the most powerful conversations I have. I will be putting all in the notes, all your information. So if people want to connect with you, they will be able to follow you. They will be able to connect with you. And more than that, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming in here, spending time with us. And I really hope that you, audience, you guys have to listen to this conversation twice, because we really touch some great topics and we dig into what truly means to have a relationship. But the most important relationship will be with yourself, just like Odette mentioned. Please take care of yourself and you will be able to take care of others. And when you take care of others, they will take care of you. It's just simple as that. So with that being said, I will see you guys next time. But until then, thank you so much. Stay tuned.
Thank you.